Hi, in this video we're going to look at the rate of change from a graph. So in all of these we'll have a graph, which means these aren't really designed to be worked with a calculator because there's a lot of places you can actually go wrong in trying to do this on a calculator. But if you have a graph and you're trying to find the slope on a graph, all you have to do is remember your slope, which is another word for rate of change, a fancy word, it's just fancy expression for slope, which is the change in y over the change in x. And if you look at your formula sheet, you'll see it has a formula. It tells you to subtract y1 minus y2 over x1 minus x2. And we also, if we have a graph, we can think of it as our rise from one point over our run to the other point. Okay, so since on these we have graphs on each one of these, we're going to look at the rise over the run. So you need to find 2 points in your graph and figure out how far up and how far over you have to go. So if I look at this point right here and this point right here, those are the 2 points they gave me. I need to figure out how far up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And notice I didn't count. Sometimes when we count, we have it's easy to make a mistake where we count this first block. Some of us start counting and we say 1, 2, 3. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But we counted here before we'd even moved. So when you first put your pen down, don't count that. Don't count till you actually move. 1. So actually the one above where I'm moving to is the 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So my rise is 7. Okay. My run, 1. Notice I didn't count here. I counted here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My run is 5. I can see from left to right my graph is going uphill, so I know I'm going to have a positive slope, 7 over 5. Okay, now this is a griddable. So how do I put this on a grid? Oh, and notice this wording. This wording is kind of weird. I just went and did slope because that's what it says up here. But it says the graph of the linear function h is shown in the grid. Given f of x equals x and h of x equals a times f of x, what is the value of a? So this is really confusing the way they've written this. So I just want to kind of go over what it's saying. Okay, when it says f of x equals x, and then here I have an f of x, I can replace f of x with what it equals. So when it's asking me for what is h of x equals a times f of x is really just x. Okay, remember that the number or the letter or whatever is being multiplied to x is your slope or your rate of change. So this is just a weird way of asking you for the slope. So anytime you see like a number in front of just a plain old x, that's going to be your slope. Okay, now 7 divided by 5, I need to make that into a decimal, so I am going to use my calculator. So I'm just going to get a new page, a calculator page, and I'm going to do 7 divided by 5, and I'm going to put a decimal because otherwise it's just going to give me my fraction back. And by just putting a decimal on the end there, it says it's okay to give me a decimal. And it tells me 1.4. So I'm going to put a 1.4. 1.4. Notice I did it in the very first section, 1.4, but I could have put it over here at the end. It doesn't matter. On the positive answers, you don't have to bubble in the plus sign. You can if you want to. It won't take points off if you don't. It's only if it's negative you have to bubble the negative. Because if you don't put the plus sign on 7/5, it's implied that it's a positive 7/5. Okay, let's look at the next one. All right, so here again, we're looking for the rate of change, which we know is the slope. So I'm going to be looking at my rise over my run. So to get from the point on the left to the point on the right, I can see I have to go down 2. So my rise, I'm actually going down instead of rising up. So it's a -2 that I'm going down. And then I'm going to the right, so I'm increasing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So my run is 8. So my slope is -2/8, but I want to reduce that. What's kind of neat about the calculator is if you're not good at reducing, your calculator is. So as long as you put the right numbers in, it's going to reduce it for you and say, oh, that's -1/4. My answer is C. Let's look at number 3. All right, so again, here we're going to go from left to right. So from left to right, I'm going to start here. And remember, I don't count right here. I don't count till I move down to the first block. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So my rise, I'm going down, so it's a -7. My run, 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, notice I didn't count here. I didn't count till I moved 1, 2, 3, 4. So -7/4, which I can't bubble that in, so I'm going to have to turn it into a decimal. So -7 divided by 4. I'm going to tell the calculator to give it to me as a decimal by putting the little decimal there. Enter, I get a -1.75. So this time I do have to bubble in my negative. And again, I can put that 1.75 wherever I want to. And here I usually just start at the very front. 1.75. 1.75. And then just double check, make sure you lined everything up. I did. I'm good. All right, 2 more for this video. All right, so again, rise over the run. Get a bright blue. My rise from this point, I always choose the most left point and go to the right for some reason. It'll work either way, but I'm going to go up 1. Again, don't count this one. Up 1, count right after you've moved. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So my rise is a +6 because we went up, and then my run is a +2 because we moved to the right. So my slope is 6/2. That's not an answer choice over here, so I know it must reduce. 6 divided by 2 is just 3. So that is my rate of change with respect to x for this function. Okay, so there's different ways they're going to say it. They are going to sometimes do this weird way where they're asking you just what's in front of x. Just a weird way of asking what's in front of x. Or they'll ask you for the rate of change, or sometimes they'll just specifically say what is the slope. Okay, so here's another one of those weird ones where it says f of x equals h and h of x equals a f of x, but we know f of x is just x. It's really a times x. What is a? The number multiplied to a is just your slope. So again, remember, this is just asking for your slope or your rate of change. Okay, so let's find it. I'm going to choose my leftmost point and go up 6. So my rise is 6. I think this is the problem we just did, right? My run is 2. So we already did this. 6 divided by 2 we know is 3. So I just have to bubble in a 3. Again, you can bubble in the plus sign. It's not going to hurt, but on this one you don't have to. Okay? Because if I just write 3, it's implied it's a +3. Okay? All right, so hopefully that helps you with finding rate of change, no matter how they ask you for it. If they ask you for slope, rate of change, or some kind of weird way like this, hopefully that helps you with that. Okay, if you have any questions, please make sure you're checking in with your teacher or your tutor. Thank you so much for watching.